Hello there you guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and today I'm just going to be officially updating you on some more current latest news. So if you do consider drop your likes, and if you do consider subscribe to the channel as always. So a bit more additional information to give you in regards to Romelu Lukaku. Also, lots of other things to talk about as well. So we do know that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is working on bringing players to Manchester United who he thinks are good enough to represent Manchester United. He's also working on trying to keep his imperative players at Manchester United of course as well. So Solskjaer wants to bring at least 5 new additions to the club. Obviously the spending spree we're getting is around £250 million of course, but like I said, if we can cash in for the likes of Lukaku, if we can cash in for Pogba and De Gea, even though we do know they are free essentially players of course, it's going to take our spending spree to around £500 million this summer. Like I said, it will help us with our rebuilding process, and of course it will help us with our transition of course. But talking about Romelu Lukaku, now we do know Lukaku has been subjected to a lot of transfer speculation. Now Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has blatantly told him that he's surplus to requirements at Manchester United, and we do know Lukaku last season of course endured a very difficult time, because obviously we know mainly Marcus Rashford has been first choice ahead of him. So potentially now Lukaku's move is looking very imminent indeed, and I think his preferred destination is Italy, and I think he's destined to make the move to Italy, because Romelu Lukaku was discussing a while back about his dream of playing in the Serie A. But I think Lukaku's agent came out a while back saying that his future is very open indeed. But it also did come out saying that Romelu Lukaku has held negotiations with Inter Milan's representatives, because it said Lukaku flew out to Italy, and reportedly now Lukaku has agreed a deal with Inter Milan. I think he's also agreed a 5-year contract with them. I think over the 5 years it's worth around 37.5 million, and I think a year it's about 7.5 million. And I also think there's bonuses involved in this. Obviously an initial fee has obviously not yet come to an agreement, so obviously they're still negotiating a fee, so obviously it hasn't been fully finalised as yet. I think the quoted fee is around £62 million that Manchester United do want for their Romelu Lukaku. I think from Inter Milan's perspective they rate him at around £55 million. So the fee actually could be the stumbling block in this, but it depends if Inter Milan are willing to pay up to £62 million. Initially at first it said Manchester United wanted around £70 million for Romelu Lukaku. So basically we're looking to recoup the majority of the money that we did pay for him a couple of years ago from Everton, because obviously we got him £75 million from Everton. There was add-ons including a deal of £15 million, so he'd risen it to £90 million, and he has still got 3 years left on his contract. I think Lukaku is on about £250,000 a week with Manchester United. That's his salary a week. I think some people think it's like £170,000 a week, but everything else has been agreed. But the terms have been agreed. Inter Milan have also agreed to meet his current wage demands as well, and I think it also said that Romelu Lukaku is willing to take a pay cut to currently join Inter Milan. But Antonio Conte is set to be appointed as Inter Milan's new manager to replace Luis Spelter, and Antonio Conte has identified Romelu Lukaku as his number one target. But like I said, I think it will be beneficial if we can cash in for him of course. Obviously we're going to need a replacement for Romelu Lukaku, and yeah, like I said, it will be beneficial, as I said, if we can currently cash in for him, because as I did say, I think he's too inconsistent. I know he's got a lot of development in him, Lukaku, he's 26 years of age. And to be fair, I'll credit him, his ratios he's been very good in the Premier League, his pedigree's very good in the Premier League, but when it comes to him playing the big teams, he's a big game bottler, his link-up play, his footballing ability, all of that, definitely concerns me, indeed, as well, his first touch also, concerns me. So yeah, I think it's the right thing, for him to currently, go to Italy, Romelu Lukaku. But we do potentially know, also know as well, guys, that it came out, was it about 4 or 5 days ago, saying that, obviously Inter Milan were willing to offer £30 million for Lukaku, plus Ivan Perisic as part of the deal. But obviously Manchester United were not going along with this, because obviously Ivan Perisic is no longer a Manchester United target. Obviously he was a long-term target for Manchester United under the Jose Mourinho, where he was a long-term target. I think the main reason why we didn't get Ivan Perisic is because obviously Manchester United were not willing to meet the Inter Milan's £48 million asking price, and this is why we didn't get Perisic. But obviously he's no longer a Manchester United target of course, so obviously obviously we're not going to be willing to go along with that. Obviously, Cardi also got mentioned as well, but I don't think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants Mario Icardi. Also, he said if Man United are willing to let him go as part of a swap deal, he said Manchester United, we're demanding Milan Skriniar as part of the deal with Romelu Lukaku. But Manchester United has just blatantly made it clear, we want around £62 million, but everything has been agreed but the fee. So, I think, talks are continuing with that. As we all do currently know, though, obviously, our first signing is going to be Daniel James from Swansea. Obviously, his move now is looking very, very imminent indeed. I think Daniel James, do you think he'll be good for Manchester United? It's really, really good because he does fit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's transfer strategy, because obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's worked out his transfer strategy and he wants to recommend a number of young players to come in. And obviously, Daniel James is young. He's only 21 years of age. He has still got a lot of development in him. And him, coming to the Premier League, it's going to take a huge step for him, and it's going to take his career to the next level. Obviously, we do know it hasn't been fully finalised as yet. He did initially say that his transfer to Manchester United is set to be announced this week. Obviously, his move has been delayed a little bit, based on his father, passing away. Obviously, last week that had made him withdraw from the Wales camp. But I think Daniel James this week is set to return to the Wales camp, of course. So we do know Manchester United have agreed an initial fee of around £15 million for Daniel James. I think it initially rises up to £20 million with add-ons, of course. But look at it, that is a reasonable figure. And like I said, it's not always about spending big on players. It's not always about getting them Glasgow players, because it doesn't always guarantee you success and doesn't always get you in that commanding position. There you go. Prime example, Paul Pogba, £89 million, our most expensive signing at the club. Obviously, we paid big money for Lukaku with £75 million, but it doesn't always, of course, get you in that commanding position. But yeah, like I said, £15-20 million is a reasonable figure. But the question is, has Daniel James got the ability? Has he got the minerals, to make it to the highest level? And that is the big question indeed. Can he make it to the highest level? Has he got the attributes, to succeed in the Premier League? Can he meet expectation levels at Manchester United? Well, I hope he can, to be quite honest with you. Obviously, he's only got a year left on his deal with Swansea as Daniel James, of course. Obviously, quite a few teams inquired about his services. Brighton came in right at the final hurdle to try and get his signature. Leeds nearly got him back in January, but Swansea pulled out of the deal right at the final hurdle. I think also Everton inquired about his services, but I think from Daniel James's perspective, his preferred destination is Manchester United. And we know Daniel James, primarily plays on the wing. He's more effective from that left-hand side. So I should presume, that's where Manchester United will put Daniel James on that left-hand side. But he's good at cutting in from the flank. He's very, very fast on the ball. He can score goals, can Daniel James. But I have got reservations about him because he's not really, really good in the eye. He's not really, really good at tracking back. But yeah, he's moved to Manchester United now. He's looking very, very imminent. So he's going to be our first signing. It should be announced sometime this week. But potentially, we've got to address it. You can see the deficiencies in Manchester United squad, and obviously, we've got to address these problems in the summer. So we do need a massive overhaul this summer, of course. Obviously, another problem with Manchester United as well. We've let far too many players' contracts run down. So obviously, that's been another problem. As I did say, I probably expect at least around 4 or 5 players, to leave Manchester United. Obviously, all the players that we do want to leave, we're not going to be able to address this problem in one window. It's going to take a couple of windows to currently address that problem. So I expect, as I said, around 4 or 5 to leave. We're getting a spending speed around £250 million. I do agree there's a lot of problems at Man United at the moment. There is cultural problems at the club. Obviously, as well, we need to get a director of footballing, because that's a structural change that we do need at the club. We need a director of football, because obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to need backing this summer. And as I did say, there has been quite a few names mentioned, who could take that director's role. But it would be ideal to recommend someone who obviously knows the culture of the club, someone of course and was obviously got the experience. So potentially Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did basically say he believes we can still attract players to the highest level, even though we're not in a Champions League football for next season. So it is going to be hard for us to lure players to the elite level. But you can see the areas where Manchester United of course are lacking. And like I said, I think we need a right back. We need 2 central defenders. We need a goalkeeper if De Gea leaves, in my opinion. We need 3 new additions in that midfield. We need a right winner, and we need a striker of course. And obviously Lukaku is going to be leaving anywhere. And as I did say, I think the likes of Rashford and, Martial obviously haven't graduated to that level yet, and obviously they're not reliable enough, to get us them goals that we do currently need. So yeah, lots to fix at Manchester United, of course, and we do know a lot of money's been invested into the club over the years, since Alex Ferguson retired, like £700 million has been spent, of course, and I do believe in the next couple of seasons, our aspirations is going to be fine, to get in that top four, of course. Obviously, I think, we're at least 3 or 4 years off, from being a competitive elite level football club. Like I said, I think it's going to take us them number of years, to, mount any kind of title challenge up. So like I said, we have been playing catch up for the last 5 or 6 years. Obviously, at the moment, City strides ahead of us, of course, Liverpool strides ahead of us, and I do presume as well, they're going to invest this summer. So potentially we've got to get the right recruitment this summer, because analysing our recruitment policy is actually, very, very poor, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. But some people said we should be sensible with our recruitment this summer, because these are quite a few players out there for the reasonable figure, of course, that are actually on Manchester United's agenda. So we'll basically see what happens. So yeah, talking about so it's looking like Lukaku is going to be leaving Manchester United. Obviously, Daniel James is coming in sometime this week, I should presume. His transfer will be announced. And talking about Paul Pogba, as I give you the update about him yesterday, he's moved away from Manchester United now. He's looking very, very imminent indeed. I think Paul Pogba, from his own preference, his preferred destination is Real Madrid. His likely destination, of course, is Real Madrid, because obviously the headlines came out yesterday, and this was coming from quite a few Spanish outlets, and I think a very reliable Spanish journalist came out called Eduardo Inda, and he basically said that, Paul Pogba to Real Madrid, is practically done. Potentially, obviously, a fee, it's not basically finalised yet, because obviously, a fee is still being negotiated. Obviously, an initial fee has not yet come to an agreement. I think it did say a fee of between 137 and 150 million pounds is currently being negotiated. But I think reportedly, Paul Pogba has agreed a massive pay cut. So basically, his salary is around 13 million pounds a year. But I think he's agreed the pay cut, so it is set to reduce from 13 million to 10 million, of course. So his wages are set to drop by 3 million pounds, of course. So obviously, going back a couple of weeks ago, it did say, the talks had stalled, between Paul Pogba and Real Madrid, based on his 13 million a year wage demands, and obviously his wage demands did not fit the wage structure of Real Madrid, of course, and that was obviously, the stumbling block in negotiations. But I think now Paul Pogba has, agreed, for his wages, to be currently reduced a year, so it's set to be around 10 million pounds a year. So potentially, as we all do know anyway, his preferred destination now, but has been Real Madrid. I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is, basically doing everything, to try and keep Paul Pogba at Manchester United, because I think Solskjaer knows how much of an imperative player he is. Even though he hasn't really exceeded expectation levels at Manchester United, he hasn't been the fundamental player as we all thought he would have been, because he did have 4 good years in Turin with Juventus, did Paul Pogba. But potentially, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, potentially, I think it came out last week that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer reportedly offered Paul Pogba the captaincy, in a bid to convince Paul Pogba to stay at the club. But we do know he's going to be going to Real Madrid, obviously. We do know Zinedine Zidane is a big admirer of the player. Obviously, Zinedine Zidane has emphasised a lot of players on his agenda this summer. But obviously, his 2 main targets, of course, are Paul Pogba and, of course, Chelsea's Eden Hazard. So yeah, there is 2 main priority targets. We do obviously know that Paul Pogba's got 3 years left on his contract with Manchester United. I think Man United have been in negotiations and we're trying to get him a new contract. But we do know in the last 5 or 6 weeks, that Paul Pogba's agent Riley Ola has been in the process of finding him a new club. There's still been recent reports coming out saying that Juventus are interested in re-signing Paul Pogba. It did say Juventus were willing to offer Dybala and Alexandro as part of the deal to lure Paul Pogba away from Manchester United. But it's looking likely he's going to be going to Real Madrid. Initially, it did say Man United wanted around 160 million pounds for Pogba, but obviously this is a figure that obviously Real Madrid are not willing to pay. I don't think we'll get 160 million for him. We may get 135 million for him. We may get 145 million pounds for Paul Pogba. But like I said, maybe a couple of the main factor reasons why he wants to leave. He wants to be Champions League football. Maybe he wants to be playing amongst better players. Wants to be winning trophies and all that. And obviously, this is something that Manchester United cannot offer Paul Pogba. And we mainly saw the best of Paul Pogba when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was the interim manager in his first 3 months. And we mainly saw the best of Pogba when he was freed. And obviously, obviously, Ander Herrera, was the player that freed him up. So that just emphasises how much of an impact, Ander Herrera, of course, did make. And and Paul Pogba during that 3-month period was in absolutely scintillating form. He was scoring, he was providing, but in his last 8 or 9 games last season, his performances were below par, and he was so inconsistent. But he's definitely, destined to make the move to Real Madrid. He was talking a lot about Real Madrid about, was it 7 or 8 weeks ago, about his dream, to currently play for them and all that. And he did identify, and he pinpointed at some point in his career he does want to make the move to Real Madrid, does Paul Pogba. So it's looking very, very likely now. But as I did say, the money we get for him, we could potentially get 2 players over that money, maybe even 3 players over that money. Obviously last year, Paul Pogba was linked to a move away from Old Trafford. He was linked with Juventus last year. He was also linked to a move to Barcelona last year, because obviously, based on his poor relationship with Jose Mourinho. Obviously, Paul Pogba got one of his one of his best wishes, of course, when Jose Mourinho got sacked from the club, as you all currently know. But yeah, it's looking likely, Paul Pogba is going to be leaving Manchester United. Well, initially now, Man United anyway are only willing to offer him the vice-captaincy role, because obviously the captaincy at Manchester United next season, reportedly, will be given to Ashley Young. And we do know it's looking very, very likely that Juan Mata is going to be leaving Manchester United as well, and his contract comes to an end. And I'm pretty disappointed about this, because I'd love Juan Mata to have at least another season there with Manchester United. I think he's been a great servant to the club as Juan Mata. He has made over 200 odd appearances in all competitions. But we know initially now he's a squad player. He doesn't really even get in the team now. Juan Mata. We do know he's 31 years of age, and he has lost that yard of pace. But I think Manchester United failed to agree a contract extension for Mata, because I think we're in talks of getting him a 1-year extension, or was it a 2-year extension. Obviously we're not willing to offer him a long-term contract, because obviously he's 31 years of age. Recent reports did say that Newcastle were interested in Juan Mata. He did say Newcastle were interested in Juan Mata, because I think maybe Rafa Benitez is keen on reuniting with Juan Mata, because obviously Juan Mata played under Rafa Benitez when he was at Chelsea, of course. So maybe Rafa Benitez is keen on reuniting with him. I think it still remains uncertain whether Rafa Benitez is going to be at Newcastle next season, but he's identified Juan Mata as one of his targets, of course. So whether Juan Mata is interested in making the move to Newcastle, he wants to continue playing his trade in the Premier League, or Mata makes a return to Spain, because we do know Barcelona have been in talks of getting him on a free transfer, of course. But obviously, if Barcelona were to get him, they wouldn't see him as a replacement for Messi out. They just see, Juan Mata as a potential squad player. They'd use him as a squad player, like obviously now he's a squad player at Manchester United, so they wouldn't see him as replacing for Messi. But yeah, Barcelona have been in talks on getting him. Maybe from Juan Mata's perspective, he would make the return to Spain, because obviously he's Spanish himself. Obviously, basically, had a lot of experience of playing in Spain when he was younger. He initially began his career, with Real Madrid. Had 4 years there with Valencia, but I think he's done really, really well in the Premier League. He's had about 8 years now in the Premier League. 5 of those years with Manchester United. Obviously had 2.5, 3 years there with Chelsea when he was younger as well. So being a fantastic servant in the Premier League, but it's looking likely, he is going to be leaving Manchester United. I think we did play him a couple of times, towards the back end of last season. He was basically, playing him in that number 10 role, in that free role. So actually, Juan Mata can play that. You can also put Juan Mata on the right, but we know mainly that Lingard is first choice on that right hand side, of course. So anyway, it's looking like Juan Mata is going to be leaving Manchester United. We do know Valencia, of course, is leaving. Obviously, he's been a long-serving player. He served 10 years at Manchester United, Antonio Valencia. Obviously, we're in the market now trying to find a replacement for him. Obviously, as I said, David De Gea, it's looking likely, David De Gea is going, which is a shame, to be quite honest with you. Well, I think he may not go, but I think it's looking very, very likely. He's going to be going, is De Gea, and we do know that he's an imperative, he's an imperative keeper, he's David De Gea, and Solskjaer, would want him to stay at the club. But obviously, he's refused to sign a new contract with Manchester United as David De Gea. I think at least for the last year and a half now, Manchester United have been in the process of trying to get him a new contract. Reportedly, De Gea is demanding that he wants around £358,000 a week. Reportedly, Manchester United are not willing to meet his £350,000 a week wage demands, and I think this is a figure that PSG, of course, are prepared to meet. It didn't just say, say, PSG are prepared to put a bid in for him of around £60 million, because obviously, PSG are heavily linked to him. But like I said, it will be beneficial if we can cash in for him this summer, and very imperative indeed that we do cash in for him, because it would be a calamity if we let him go on a free transfer next year. It did unless you say PSG, were willing, we're intending on getting him on a free transfer next year, so that could maybe, tempt them to, to offer him a bigger salary. But we've got to cash in for him, this year, as I said. Obviously, a full value for the goalkeeper. I think David De Gea is definitely worth £100 million, because he's potentially the best goalkeeper in the world. But obviously, we're not going to get £100 million for him, because obviously, he's in the final year of his deal. Obviously, he's been at Man United 8 years, of course, made over 300 appearances in all competitions. Obviously, won everything either domestically as David De Gea. But yeah, his move's looking very, very imminent. Obviously, we do know Real Madrid have been long admirers of him. Real Madrid were on the brink of getting him back in 2015, but due to a fax machine, of course, the deal never materialised. So I do believe we need a replacement for David De Gea. I don't think it's in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's plans, to actually, I don't think it's in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's plans, to actually, buy a goalkeeper to replace De Gea. I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is willing to promote Sergio Romero as our number one goalkeeper. I don't know if Sergio Romero, he's a good goalkeeper, but I don't know if he's reliable enough yet, to become our number one goalkeeper. Obviously, talking about Dean Henderson, he hasn't, really got the experience yet. He's been on loan with Sheffield United. I think he needs to be loaned out for another season to gain a bit more experience. And then we've also, got Lee Grant, but I think, that Lee Grant as well, will be leaving Manchester United. So looking likely, that David De Gea will be leaving. I think it was bad judgment from Manchester United as well, letting Ander Herrera, go on a free transfer. So obviously, we're going to need a replacement for Ander Herrera. As I did come and say, Darmain and Rojo, it's looking likely, they're going to be leaving Manchester United. Even though recent reports did come out from Sky Sports saying that, Darmain, wants to, that Rojo actually, wants to stay at Manchester United. He still probably feels as though he's under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's plans. But I think we've got to get rid of Marcus Rojo. He's enjoyed a difficult time at the club. He's become injury prone as well since he's come to United. He has sustained a lot of injuries. Obviously, Darmain as well, he's enjoyed, like I said, a very, very difficult time. Initially doesn't even hardly get him in the team. So I think an estimated guess, we can get around £30 million, for Matty Darmain and Marcus Rojo. Talking about Smalling and Phil Jones, they've been 2 long-serving players at the club. Smalling's been here 9 years. Phil Jones, of course, has been here 8 years. But potentially, they're no longer good enough to represent Manchester United. And comparing them both, definitely Smalling is definitely, to me, on another level than Phil Jones. So potentially, better than Phil Jones. But like I said, I think, they should be both gone in the summer. But obviously, they're definitely not going to be at Manchester United next season, Smalling and Jones. Like I said, if a new centre-back is to get recommended to come in, Eric Bailly's future, could be in even more serious jeopardy. It's in jeopardy now, I would say. And I think we need to cash in for Bailly this summer, because obviously he's become too injury prone as Eric Bailly. I think with his fallout under managers and his injuries he has sustained, I think it's had a really bad effect on his career. Obviously, he's had 3 years now of experience under his belt in the Premier League, with Manchester United, of course, because obviously we got him from Villarreal, back in 2016. And I think we pay around £30 million for Eric Bailly, if I'm right. So yeah, I think best we definitely need to also get rid of him. Obviously, it's looking likely Sanchez will be going. Talking about Sanchez, we can't get rid of him permanently, of course, because there won't be any teams out there that can afford to pay his wages off. So I think we're willing to let him go on a long season loan, and Man United are willing to pay half his wages off. I haven't heard much more about the stories lately of what's going on with Sanchez. I read up about a couple of weeks ago, like I did update you, saying that Juventus and Inter Milan expressed their interest in him. Sanchez's agent had been in Italy a couple of weeks back or something like that. Anyway, I think it was a couple of weeks, or was it 3 weeks ago? But it did say Juventus and Inter Milan had been in negotiations with Sanchez's agent, and so potentially I think he agreed the pay cut, did Alexis Sanchez, because he's been so inconsistent as a Manchester United player, and he hasn't been the fundamental player as we all thought he would have been, because he had 4 good years with Arsenal. I think there has been talks about him possibly making a return back to Arsenal, but I think if you ask the majority of Arsenal fans would they take Alexis Sanchez back, they'd probably say no. Maybe some of them would say yeah, but I think the majority of them, of course, would say no. And obviously, Sanchez played under Pep Guardiola, of course, when he was younger with Barcelona as well, and he did really, really well there. But he just hasn't replicated that form at Manchester United. Of course, he's only been here 16 months. He's also become injury prone. Since he's come at Manchester United, because I think he's sustained about 4 injuries now as a Manchester United player. But I think overall his wages having a really, really bad effect on the club. He's on 400 grand a week, potentially rising up to 500 grand a week, you know, based on the mid-rights, based on all the bonuses and that. I think it rises up to around £500,000 a week. So definitely he's one of the problematic players, and we've got to get him out. And talking about, you know, what's, you know, the main headlines of what's been going on, and, you know, he's obviously, you know, being widely spoken about a lot. He's obviously, you know, Matthias de Ligt from Ajax. Obviously, you know, he's on Manchester United's agenda. Obviously, you know, we've been hearing positive news about Matthias de Ligt in the last couple of days. Obviously, you know, saying that his talks with Barcelona have currently mended, because obviously, you know, they struggled to come to an agreement on the terms. But the differences between Barcelona and Manchester United, obviously, you know, Barcelona can offer him Champions League football. Manchester United can't offer him Champions League football. But again, another difference between Manchester United and Barcelona, of course, Manchester United are willing to offer him a lot more money, and of course, Barcelona are reluctant, of course, to increase their offer. So Manchester United are reportedly willing to offer Matthias de Ligt a contract worth up to £350,000 a week. So this equates to around almost £17 million a year. So if this was to actually go through and process, you know, this would make Matthias de Ligt the highest paid teenager in world football. It'd also make him the highest paid teenager in football. Yeah, I think it'd also make him one of the highest paid players at Manchester United. Of course, so maybe Matthias de Ligt, you know, could be on his way to Old Trafford, and I hope he does come to Manchester United. I think in terms of transfer fees, he's going to cost you around 65 or 70 million pounds, because that's obviously, you know, what he's initially rated at. And he did say Manchester United had put a bid in for Matthias de Ligt of around 70 million pounds. But we do obviously know quite a few teams have inquired about his services. Also, Liverpool have been linked to him. Manchester City have been inquired about his services, because City obviously, you know, looking for a replacement for Vincent Kompany. But I think it's looking very, very imminent, guys, you know, that he is going to be leaving Ajax, is Matthias de Ligt. But it still remains uncertain, you know, where he will be applying his trade next season. He will fit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's transfer strategy, you know, only 19 years of age. Got a hell of a lot of development in him. But we do know, at least in the last couple of months, that Barcelona, of course, have been in the ascendancy, you know, to get Matthias de Ligt. Obviously, you know, it came out, was it only last week from Sky Sports, saying that he was set to join Barcelona. His preferred destination, of course, was Barcelona, because obviously his teammate Frankie de Jong is currently going there. So he maybe wanted to reunite with his current teammate Frankie de Jong. But reportedly, what de Ligt's demanding, what his agent Raiola is demanding, this is something that Barcelona are not willing to currently meet. So basically, de Ligt's been asking for more money. His agent Raiola been asking for more money. But Manchester United are willing to meet the terms of what, you know, de Ligt's demanding, and his agent Raiola, of course, is demanding. But essentially, initially, a couple of days ago, you know, it said Manchester United pulled out of the race, you know, for Matthias de Ligt, you know, because maybe we were too convinced that we thought he was going to go to Barcelona and all that. But I think there's a lot of credibility in these stories, you know, regarding Matthias de Ligt. I think he still remains unsure what he wants to do at the moment. But, you know, there's a lot of credibility in these stories. And when it came out from Gerard Romero, who's a very reliable Spanish journalist, you know, he basically said that Manchester United are very, very close to signing him and all that. And I think also suggestions, you know, stirred up, of course, you know, when, you know, Rio Ferdinand put that post on Instagram, and, you know, Matthias de Ligt had currently liked that post. I think it was for my Champions League successor back in 2008. I think that stirred up suggestions. I think Manchester United fans were convinced, you know, that Matthias de Ligt was interested in coming. But we do know Matthias de Ligt has spent the entirety of his career so far, you know, with Ajax. You know, he's been in Ajax play since the age of 9, you know, progressed up the ranks fantastically well, and he made his senior debut at the age of 16, so he's had 3 years worth of experience in their senior squad. You know, he has become an integral part of their team as Matthias de Ligt, and I do really, really like him indeed, as you all know. But I think it came out about 3 weeks ago, you know, obviously Edwin van der Sar, who's currently the CEO of Ajax, you know, he basically said that, you know, he's very convinced he'll leave and he'll either make the move to England or Spain. So he's been widely spoken about, Matthias de Ligt, and he has been subjected to a lot of transfer speculation. Of course, Ajax won the domestic double this season for the first time in 17 years. You know, they won their Eredivisie title for the first time in 5 years, included the domestic double, and of course progressed to the Champions League semi-final. So Ajax, you know, had a really, really good season indeed. But he's only 19. He's also very tall as well, you know, which is very, very beneficial. And I think he'd blend in very, very well alongside Victor Lindelof in our back line. So obviously we do know he's been mentioned, Matthias de Ligt. Obviously, we're in search for the right back as well, and I love Wan-Bissaka. Obviously, you know, he's been one of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's prime targets as Wan-Bissaka. Like I said, we need a replacement for Valencia, and I think Wan-Bissaka, you know, would be the perfect successor, you know, to Antonio Valencia. You know, Wan-Bissaka, only 21 years of age, you know, has still got a hell of a lot of development in him. He's only been in Crystal Palace's senior squad about 15 months, as Wan-Bissaka. It came out about 3 or 4 days ago saying that Manchester United had reportedly submitted a bid of around 25 million for him. obviously we do know that this, this figure obviously, is not going to be enough, to convince Crystal Palace to let him go. I think the quoted fee is around 50, or I think it's around 60 or 70 million pounds that Crystal Palace are demanding, for them and Wan-Bissaka. But I really, really like him. I think his defensive capabilities is very, very good, and I think he's got all the abilities, to elevate Manchester United at least in the next 2 to 3 years. He has still got 3 years left on his contract as Wan-Bissaka. Initially, when he was a lot younger, he was a winger, but obviously now as a right back, he's predominantly right back, and I think he's regarded as the best right back in the Premier League, and without shadow of a doubt. Also, Tottenham have inquired about his services. I think also Manchester City have inquired about his services. So I really, really like him indeed, and I hope Manchester United can get him a deal over the line for him. So I'm willing to pay up to 60 or 70 million pounds for Wan-Bissaka. Of course, British as well, and that's another thing. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has expressed an interest in quite a few British players. Obviously, talking about that midfield, as I said, and I honestly think, the good replacement for Paul Pogba, would be Sporting Lisbon's Bruno Fernandes. Obviously, as he updated you, was it a day or so ago now, or just over a day ago, obviously, he doesn't know where his future lies, Bruno Fernandes at the moment. He basically denied making any negotiation with Manchester United over the potential move to Old Trafford. Obviously, Bruno Fernandes, did say he's had two intense years. This means obviously with Sporting Lisbon, and he doesn't know if he'll be having a third year, so he doesn't basically know if he's going to be leaving. But he has refused to rule out a move to the Premier League as Bruno Fernandes. But I really, really like him. 24 years of age. He has still got a lot of years ahead of him as Bruno Fernandes, and I think he's got all the attributes to succeed in the Premier League, and I think he'd definitely exceed expectation levels in the Premier League. As you all know, he's primarily an attacking midfielder. It is Manchester United and Manchester City that are in for him. I think City are emerged as the front runners, to currently get the players' signature. I think from Manchester City's perspective, they want to get him in a deal worth around 40 million pounds. Obviously, for a player of Bruno Fernandes' calibre, obviously the more attractive option for him, would be Manchester City, because City and that can offer him Champions League football, and that obviously, Manchester United can't, and obviously at the moment City are strides ahead of Manchester United, and so I don't think he knows what he's doing. I think his initial release clause His initial release clause is around £86 million. Is Bruno Fernandes is in his contract with Sporting Lisbon, but I think it came out a couple of weeks ago that the quoted fee was around £60 million that Sporting Lisbon currently wanted for Bruno Fernandes. Obviously had a lot of experience of playing in Italy when he was young, obviously with the likes of San Pandora and Underneath, but initially City would see Bruno Fernandes as a replacement for Fernandinho, but actually Fernandinho is primarily a defensive midfielder. So I love Bruno Fernandes. I think it'd be the right solution for Manchester United. It'd be a good adequate replacement for Pogba. He'd been as them goals, he'd been as them assists and all that. So Manchester United are definitely still in for Bruno Fernandes. And obviously, as I've been updating you guys, obviously, in the last couple of days, I've been updating you about this. Obviously, about Giovanni Lo Celso, from Real Betis. Of course, obviously, Tottenham now have stepped up their interest in him. I think also Man United have inquired about his services. I think also Tottenham, Man United, Tottenham, Manchester City, I think have also inquired about his services. I think also Real Madrid have inquired about his services. So I think there has been quite a few teams in there for him. He's 23 years of age. He is Argentinian. He is a central midfielder. Don't really know much about him, to be quite honest here. I do know PSG do benefit from it though, if Real Betis do sell him, because obviously PSG get a percentage of any sale, of course, because obviously initially Real Betis got him off PSG. Well, initially he was on loan with Real Betis last summer. Well, Real Betis got him on loan last summer. I think they just paid like over £2 million for the loan fee, and potentially I think Real Betis made the deal permanent in April, so I think they paid around just under £20 million to make the deal permanent. I think they scored over 16 goals in all competitions this season. As Giovanni Lo Celso, his name's actually not hard to pronounce. I think his release clause is around £88 million. He did say that Tottenham have put a bid in for him of around 52. He's around 52 or 53 million pounds. Because obviously Pochettino wants back in this summer. Obviously Tottenham haven't done any transfer activity in the last couple of windows. They didn't spend out in January. I think the last time they signed a player was back in January 2018, if I'm right. So they didn't sign anyone back in January. They didn't sign anyone last summer. So I think the last time they signed anyone was January 2018, and I think that was Lucas Moura. I think their record signing is Davinson Sanchez, of course, who Tottenham paid £42 million for from Ajax. So yeah, Tottenham do want to get a couple of players in the summer, but one of their targets is Giovanni Lo Celso, and his release clause is initially £88 million. So yeah, it's also said that my team Manchester United have been in for him, but he's He's 23, he's Argentinian, central midfielder, but I don't really know much about the player, so I can't really say if he's good or bad, but he seems to have done well, in the La Liga this season, of course. So he's also, being spoken about. We do also know there's been talks, about Youri Tielemans going on. Obviously, he's been another target for Manchester United. Obviously, Tottenham have inquired about his services. Arsenal have inquired about his services. I think it did say that Manchester City had entered the race, for the Youri Tielemans. But Youri Tielemans, he looks a pretty decent player. Like I said, he's had about 5 or 6 months now of experience in the Premier League, under his belt, because he's obviously on loan with Leicester. I think from Youri Tielemans' perspective, he's expected to return to Monaco at the end of his loan spell with Leicester, but it does basically say that Man United have made contact with his agent. Tottenham have made contact with his agent. Tottenham have made contact with his agent. I think Manchester City have also been in negotiations with his representatives. But Youri Tielemans is a central midfielder. He's only 22 years of age. He has still got a lot of years ahead of him, and he's available for a reasonable figure because I think Monaco initially rate him at around £40 million. So we do know that also there's been a lot of talks about Youri Tielemans going on. There has been a lot of talks about Youri Tielemans going on. But obviously we do know, other midfielders, that Manchester United have been interested. And I also think we need a centre defensive midfielder. And obviously we do know at least in the last 5 or 6 days, and there was a lot of talks about it going on last week, about Thomas Partey from Atletico Madrid, saying Man United and Arsenal had inquired about his services. Obviously his release clause is around £43 million in his contract with Atletico Madrid, 25 years of age. He also got spoken about. Obviously we know Declan Rice has been mentioned in the past. We do know obviously Jesse Gay's been on Manchester United's agenda, for quite some time. So there's a number of midfielders, of course, that Manchester United are linked with. Obviously, we do know that the rumours do continue to persist, about Joe Felix from Benfica. Like I said, I'd love Joe Felix at Manchester United. I do believe it'd be the right solution. Only 19 years of age. I've still got him a lot of years ahead of him. Like I said, I do believe that Joe Felix, can emulate into one of the best players in the world. But like I said, City have inquired about his services. Real Madrid have inquired about his services. Liverpool inquired about him in January. Joe Felix, but he's had a great season with Benfica, and he did initially say that Manchester United are prepared, to trigger his buyout clause, and his buyout clause is around £105 million, and I think Benfica blatantly made it clear if they're willing to let him go, his buyout clause, of course, has to be triggered. But yeah, I really, really like him. Only 19 years of age, still got a hell of a lot of development in him, of course. Primarily an attacking midfielder, can also play as can play as a winner, can play as a striker and a secondary striker, so very, very versatile indeed. But I'd love Joe Felix, and Man United have been scouting him, for a very, very long time now. I think from Joe Felix's perspective, I still think he remains uncertain, what he's currently going to be, doing for next season, whether he's going to stay at Benfica or he's going to, move on. I don't know. So yeah, quite a few teams in here for Joe Felix, like I said. So yeah, and that's mainly, everything to update you on today, guys. So like I said, any signings we do make this summer, I've got to fit the culture and the history of the club and all that. Obviously, Solskjaer is looking to buy into our history. But like I said, at the moment, we're at least 3 or 4 years off of mounting any kind of title challenge up. And I do believe in the next couple of seasons, like I said, our aspirations, of course, is going to be that top 4. So, like I said, Daniel James, he's going to be our first signing. And then, obviously, maybe Matthias de Ligt could be our second signing. I want Matthias de Ligt to come to Manchester United. But obviously, we can't just keep focusing on one player. We've got to work on trying to get other players to the club rather than just, Matthias de Ligt. But Matthias de Ligt is the main name that keeps getting mentioned across the media, of course, because he has been subjected to a lot of transfer speculation, as you all currently know. And yeah, so the main part of this video was actually, to give you an update of what's going on with Lukaku, just to give you a bit more additional information. So everything's been agreed. He's agreed a 5-year deal. He reportedly says in the Sports Bible and a few other media outlets. The 5-year deal's worth 37.5 million, I think, something like that, over 5 years. A year, it's about 7.5 million. I think bonuses are included, and the terms have been agreed. They just need to come to an agreement on a fee, and then obviously, it's been fully finalised, of course. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do consider subscribing, as always, and take care, God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.